Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, click on that notification bell, like, dislike, comment, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, these are really trying times all around the world, especially right now in America. After all these unfortunate incidences that have happened through the past decades, and I want to let everyone know this right now. There is no room for racism and the weaponization of racism and racial profiling and downright murdering of races that you don't feel that are equal to you. If you are a person that feels that someone is beneath you because of the way they look, then I think it's the time that you take a real deep look at what you have going on in your bubble and move to another country. Because this is not the place for you. Now, today on the Angel of Words podcast, we have Ebony Allison, head of content of Bleu magazine, and the woman I report to at that magazine. She's going to be here with us, speaking her truth on deck on the Angel of Words podcast. Hello, welcome to the Angel of Words podcast. And today we have a very important guest during some very important times, Miss Ebony Allison, who is the head of content for Bleu Life Media and the lady I report to at Bleu Magazine. Miss Allison, thank you for joining us here today on the Angel of Words podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Angel. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You know, I would have loved to, be meeting you under better circumstances, but, things are what they are, and the revolution is being televised, contrary to popular belief. And, it has to be. And, I want to start off with your thoughts on George Floyd and the Amy Cooper situation, the weaponizing of racism, and your thoughts on that.
Oh, my. Whew, that's heavy, just like out the gate. Starting with, before we even get onto the George Floyd situation, I want to talk about the Amy Cooper and the Amy Coopers of the world who have just used their privilege to lie for so many years on so many people. And I just think about how many Black men have actually lost their life because of people like Amy Cooper, who have literally just fabricated stories just because they know they have this privilege. I think the whole Amy Cooper situation is just like, it's disgusting. I'm glad that the man who recorded her was able to actually get it on camera. I just think that situation just like literally, it just disgusts my spirit. And then even when I hear like she's been saying how her life has been destroyed and all of these other things, but it's like, had he not made that recording, he probably would be in the situation that George Floyd is now, which is no longer here. So, I just feel like the whole situation is just disgusting. But switching over to George Floyd, so I actually haven't watched the video, right? And like I kind of refuse to watch the video just because I just feel like it would be too traumatic. I think the last video that I actually watched was when Philando Castile was slain while his girlfriend and child were in the car. And I just remember how I felt that morning and watching that video and just literally laying in my bed, like traumatized. So I haven't watched the George Floyd video because I just don't want to relive or put any more trauma on myself that we don't have to go through. But the situation itself it's just a heartbreaking situation. And it's just like, we are in the year 2020. like still fighting the same fight that our ancestors had to fight. And it is just, it's disheartening. It's discouraging. Yeah, I just feel like it's a lot of trauma, like, that is continuously thrown in our faces as Black people. I think the media, I don't know, it just, the way that the media does that, I think it's like very intentional, of course, to always want to publicize like all of these type of things, because they know the trauma that it will have once a Black person watches, like watching yourself or somebody that looks like you being killed on camera is always going to lead to some sort of trauma. And I hate that the media always just continues to publicize it, talk about it, but maybe not show all the videos so much. Then again, I mean, maybe you do have to keep showing these videos, because at some point we have to like start fighting back. And I just think we're all tired and drained from it.
No, you reach a threshold, and you mentioned something relevant. The fact that she's complaining about, well, we're going to talk about Amy Cooper first, the fact that she's complaining about the fact that her life was destroyed. But think about how your life can be destroyed as a minority. Let's say, let's say this guy wasn't an older gentleman. Let's say he was a young kid in a park, just needed a stress reliever because he's going to school, and, he's upset about the fact that he couldn't graduate this year from college and he would have been the first one. Like, you like when you make these type of accusations, when you weaponize racism, in this manner, you don't know whose life you're destroying, man.
Exactly.
And it's really sad that you can really go out there and do something of that nature and, and expect to get away with it.
Yeah.
And expect to get away with it. And with the George Floyd situation, man, that, if you haven't watched the video, I mean, look, I don't, it sucks that you're to the point where you don't even want to watch these videos, first of all. Yeah. That's a travesty all in its own, because that tells you something about America right now. And America for the last several decades, that, that is, it's disgusting when you're like, I can't even watch this anymore. It's crazy. And, I mean, as people, our age, like, this is our revolutions. This is our time to step up. This is our time to, not sit on our asses and make moves and show the world that if we really want to be progressive, these are the steps that we're going to have to take. Now, there's a big face in the activist community, Tamika Mallory. I don't know if you were able to hear her thoughts on the situation, and actually telling corporations, like, you have a responsibility here, because that's what I also heard. It's like, I don't give a crap that we're looting, your Targets or your Walmarts or your Urban Outfitters, because they talk about all these small businesses, but they're really talking about Walmart, Urban Out, all these big corporations that are getting looted as well. And your thoughts on Tamika Mallory and her voice in the community?
Oh my God, I think she's such a powerful and strong voice in the community. Like, she's just amazing, and like, I just love everything that she has to say. But absolutely, like, large corporations absolutely have to take responsibility. Like, we posted a video on BOMBSHELL's Instagram page. Like, Rihanna was at the BET Awards, I want to say, like, maybe it was last year, but she talked about how, like, other companies or people who want to break bread with you, but they don't stand with you or fight this fight with us. But we spend our money with you guys. Like, so many corporations are in business because of the Black dollar. So, like, if you are not speaking up against the injustice that we face, then you are a part of the problem as well. So it's just such an unfortunate time. I think I love this statement that James Baldwin has said, where he says the reality is that America does not know what to do with its Black population. And he said this years ago, and to be in the year 2020, and it's like still a relevant thing, that this country that was built by Black Americans, well, Black people of color, and the fact that this nation has no clue what to do with these people. Like, we have put every opposition against them, but they somehow still manage to overcome every opposition, but they're still overcoming it. So, like, what can we do now to just try to break them down? And I feel like that's just the spirit of America is to constantly try to figure out a way to break down the Black race. But yeah, just agreeing with what she said, like corporations have to take responsibility. They have to fight this injustice with us. I think Nike put out a campaign that said, for once, just do this. Like, do it. Like, don't just do it. That's what it was. So the campaign that they put out was just saying, do not speak up. Don't turn the other cheek. Like, you cannot, like, you absolutely have to speak about it, or else it just will continue to get swept under the rug or looked at as not a big problem. So yeah, I absolutely agree with everything she said.
Yeah, I mean, they're quick to take away our sponsorships whenever we do something wrong, but they're not quick to go out there and start making press releases to tell us, or to support the community. It's insane, man.
Exactly. Insane. Like, are y'all kidding me? But yeah, they will take away your sponsorship in a blink of an eye. You say one wrong thing, like, give us our money back, but you don't want to speak up. I don't know. But this is the country. Like, I feel like at this point, can we really be surprised? Like, we already know what this country was built on, and it was not built on equality. It was built on racism and keeping a certain race of people oppressed. So that's just like what this country is. I don't know.
And you know what kills me, Ebony? I'll be honest with you, because, I love history. And, during the Boston Massacre, back in the mid-1700s, Black people were there fighting with Americans to liberate them. They used the Indian culture at the Boston Tea Party to get, to overcome the British, to try to overcome the British Empire and make a message, and that was looting. And now we're getting, dehumanized and criminalized and, all these type of things for things that we were taught to do. It's freaking crazy to me.
It is so crazy, Angel. It's just, man.
Like, yo, am I bugging? It's like sometimes, am I bugging? Like, did we not read this growing up?
Yo, it is so crazy. I don't know. I'm literally.
What about your boy Joe Biden? What's up with that, man? What? Wow. Now it's like, wow. Because we have no recourse now. It's either the racist Biden or the racist Trump. This is crazy. And, I'm like Jim Clyburn, bro. Like, he's the man. A lot of respect out there in South Carolina. And this is the guy you're shedding tears for on a press conference? And he goes out there on a Breakfast Club and says, if you're not Black, if you don't vote for me, how does that make you feel, Ebony?
Yo, oh my God. That morning, when I woke up to that headline, I'm just like, yo, what the heck? But first of all, the fact that he was even comfortable with saying that was just like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, what? I don't. Yo,
in the words of 6ix9ine, are you dumb?
Literally, like, yo, are you dumb? Obviously, you are. Obviously, you are. Obviously, you're ignorant. And okay, and Barack Obama's vice president. So, like, how dare you ever say like you're not Black if you don't vote for me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Angel, I'm like literally at like a complete loss of words when it comes to like everything that is going on in the country right now. And it's just frustrating how everything is a race thing and how everything is targeted towards Black people. Like, it is just tiring. But Joe Biden is like, I don't know what we're supposed to do this election, honestly. It's like Trump or Joe Biden. Like, I don't want neither. So what am I supposed to do?
Yo, I'm sure there's way. I mean, at the Democratic National Convention, you could actually try to elect somebody else and then put it to a vote. There is the possibility to do that. Like, that might happen. Like, it's getting to the point where we don't know these next few months what is going to happen.
Oh, my God.
Because something needs to happen. This is crazy.
This is crazy. 2020 came in swinging, like throwing all types of bullets at us. This is not the year that we expected. But I'm just blue. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to vote for. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to vote for either of these idiots. So
So what do you think? You know, what do you think? What do you want, like, as a person of the Black community? Like, what you know, what is something? You know, is it reform in the judicial system? Like, what do you think will be the good, you know, the right steps to start taking after, you know, during this process now that we're undergoing?
I think first of all, acknowledging, like, I think people honestly need to acknowledge the problems or the issues that they have brought on to just the Black community. Is people in higher power need to literally just own up to, like, the fuck up, own up to your racism, own up to your bullshit. That starts there. And then honestly and just genuinely wanting change. But I mean, as far as moving forward from this, it's kind of scary because it's like, how do we actually move forward? Because either way, we know whoever is elected is a racist. And we know that no matter how much we fight, like, what we need is not going to be in there. It's not going to be like something that they actually are working for. Like, they're not working to better the Black community. So it's just a really scary time. I talk to my friends, like, overseas in Europe, and they always talk about, like, yo, like, maybe you guys need to, like, leave and, like, move over here, because Black people in Europe or in London or overseas are just not treated at all the same way that we are treated here in America. So it's just a very, like I said, it's just a scary time. And I honestly don't know how we will move forward with a racist president. But as far as change, I think that it's going to have to start with, like, real unity. Like, Black people have to be more united than ever. Like, we can't lean on the president. We can't lean on the government. We have to literally lean on each other and be that support for each other and build each other up literally and support our businesses and buy into each other and keep our dollars within ourselves. I feel like that's the only way that there will be change in America. You think about, like, things like Black Wall Street that they burnt down, but how those group of Black people were just able to set up a business and create this thriving community for one another. I think, like, that's the mentality that we absolutely have to go back to. And I even think about, like, I don't even know if people know that Central Park used to be a community that was owned by Black people before they got pushed out and up into Harlem. But we have to go back into that sort of time where Black people or people of color literally just unite as one and build our own communities. And that is the only way that there will be any sort of real change in America.
Yeah, and stop the culture vultures too. Stop them. Stop them. And that's why I love what Swiss Beats and Timbo are doing. They're like, nah, we're not selling this. This is staying with us till further notice. Like, we're going to figure this out, because, I mean, that's the only way. You got to hurt their pockets, man. You really got to hurt their pockets.
That's the only way. So until Black people stop spending, and keep the money within the community, like, that's the only change, is money. Unfortunately, is the only way that this will change. So
yeah, no, and I've been challenging the Latino community too, because some of us try to you know, I'll be honest with you, I gotta be very critical sometimes, because I like to keep it real, and we gotta join the forces, man, because I'm seeing, you know, I'm hearing a lot of silence, and I'm not liking it.
Oh, I'm not
liking
it either, Angel. I'm so glad that you.
No, I'm not liking it, man. I don't like that, man. It really bothers me, man. It really bothers me, and this issue is a humongous, privileged issue that in the Latino community gets swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I grew up with some because I'm a dark-skinned Latino, so I've grown up with lighter-skinned girlfriends, and their grandmothers are like, yo, don't ruin the race.
Yeah.
Literally. You know what I'm saying? Like, things said to me in my face, bro, that kind of bigotry. You know what I'm saying? So there's a big divide amongst the Latino community as well. And we need to, you know, get up and realize that, you know, we need to join forces, because this is affecting all of us. It isn't just affecting the Black community. This will and is affecting all of us. And you could think that you're part of, you know, that American flag and those type of people that believe in those kind of ideologies, but you're not. When I see Latinos, you know, supporting Trump, when Trump Trump and Trump Trump supporters, when they're out there with Confederate flags, it's like, yo, did you go to school? Like, are you educated, B? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what that flag means, bro? That's up there with the Nazi flag. Like, yo, that is the most degrading, dehumanizing flag that you could be walking around and you with this wave? Like, are you joking? Like, is this a joke? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's one thing supporting Republicans, man, but, you know, you're supporting a movement right now that is totally anti everything that you are.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I mean, yo, it's so crazy. I don't even, like,
you know what I'm saying? Yo, and I feel like, yo, somebody's got to say it, B. This is crazy. Am I bugging?
It's so crazy. And I'm so happy that you actually touched on that. Because, yo, I want to even talk about that really quick because just for the simple fact, so, like, I grew up in Ohio, right? So there's not, like, a large Hispanic or Latin community where I live at all. It's black or white. Like, that's it. So when I moved to New York City and there's, like, so it's a huge Latin community in New York City, right? And it's so crazy because you hear them use the N-word all day long when they communicate with each other. And I think that when I first moved to New York, like, that really bothered me because I never heard anybody outside of a black person using the N-word. So I was like, wow, this is okay here. Okay. Well, I guess that, like, you guys feel like you are one of us, which is okay. I hear you. But then the racism that is in the Latin community and how they deny their blackness, I'm like, yo, you understand that you're black? Like, the whole denial of it. And then the whole, like, with everything that's going on right now, I have a lot of friends who are, like, Puerto Rican or Dominican, and they just don't feel the need to speak about it because they are like, it's not our issue. It's your issue. Like, you want to say the N-word, but now you don't want to fight the same fight with us, but you want to use the same word. Like, it just blows my mind. So I'm so glad that you even brought that up because that is one thing that disturbs my spirit so much.
You know, and Ebony, I'm glad that you said that because, you know, that is something that does happen here in New York City.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you could even accuse us as being big culture vultures because, like you said, like, yo, we out here and we're this and we're that. You see the kids on the train, you know what I'm saying? And where are you now? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, it's like you cannot do that. You know, that's playing the fence to the 9th degree. You know, if you're with the wave, you got to ride the wave all the way till you hit the shores. Like, don't give me that, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's been, and it bothers me. It really bothers me, man. It bothers me a lot.
Because it's cool or because we do things that you like, but then when like this happens, it's like you're silent. So I don't know. That it really bothers me with the whole Latin community. That's just like a whole other conversation.
Yeah. No. Well, we're having the conversation.
Right, honestly, we are. Man.
We're here to talk about it, man, you know? And I get a lot of flack, but like I don't care, man, because I'm about unity, man. I'm about bipartisanship. I'm about being an independent thinker. You know,
absolutely.
And, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you have to, when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm not going to keep my mouth shut and be like, oh, nah, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am down for the cause, and I'm going to make sure that everybody knows how everyone is feeling, if I can. You know, I know that's impossible, but if I can try to relay these kind of messages from all different angles, I'm going to do it. Because I feel like that's the only way that we're gonna get any type of unity or be able to relate to one another in any type of way. And we have these you know, awkward and uncomfortable conversations because everybody talks about it, but nobody's doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody's doing anything. And even like still talking about this, there was a picture that somebody posted. It was 3 gentlemen standing. It was at the CNN Center in Atlanta. There was 3 gentlemen. One guy had a Black Lives Matter flag. It was a guy in the middle, and then there was a guy beside him. He had the flag, but it was a Mexican. It was like the Mexican flag. So obviously, but you can zoom in on the image and see that, okay, the kid standing behind the Mexican flag is probably a Mexican, right? So the guy in the middle was holding both flags together, though, like with the black power fist. But he was holding both the flags together, like showing unity. And so I'm looking at the comments because now my thing is to read the comments so I can see who's really a racist. So I'm reading the comments on the picture, and there were so many of like my Mexican friends who were leaving comments on this picture, like, "Yo, why are they bringing Mexico into this? Like, keep us out of this. We don't have anything to do with it," and all of this other stuff. And I'm just like, "Yo, what? Like,
no.
Like, yo, what is happening? Like, obviously, they're all three up there, like, showing a sense of unity, like, because this person is fighting the fight with us, and everybody is having all of these negative comments, like, yo, why is he up there with our flag? Like, he needs to take our flag down. And I was just my mind was blown by these comments. And it's just like, yo, damn, like, there is so much separation and division and, like, craziness in this country when it comes to the Black race. The people love us. Like, you love our music, you love our dance moves, you love everything.
The food, man.
Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like you only, you want to be, like I said, you want to ride the wave when it's convenient for you. And I feel like Latinos are doing that as well sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say everyone. I'm not going to generalize all of us. But I see them out there just like the example you just stated. You know, when it's convenient for you. Oh, chill. Let's not get involved in that. You wildin'. Like, that's too, like, nah. That's not cool. Mm-mm.
Oh, so yeah, I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah, no, that's good. But you know what? Let's talk about what you do. You know, let's switch it up a little bit. You know, we can have the rest of that conversation off the air. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and but I love all your images on your wall. Like, I love it.
Oh yeah, no, man. Like, it's just like, it's just, I mean, a lot of, like, it's like, just a lot of people just don't know me sometimes. Like, they try to put me in that Latino box or that hood box. And it's like, yo, like, you really, I'm just well-rounded. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, like, that's who I am. You know, I respect everyone and all their cultures. And, I like to immerse myself in different cultures. And I respect everybody, to the point where you disrespect me, then I lose respect for you. But that's natural. That's just the way things should be, I think. You know what I'm saying? Right. But, yeah, nah, man. Like I like to know about things. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want to talk about your journey into media. And how you became the head of Bleu magazine, the head of the content of the Bleu magazine. And Bombshell also discussed that, because a lot of people, they may not know that Bleu and Bombshell are correlated.
Yeah. So my journey in media. So I think, honestly and truly, like, what I'm doing, I always do that. This is what I would be doing. I just didn't know how I would actually get into it, because I'm from, like, such a small city. I'm from Akron, Ohio, but hometown of LeBron James.
LeBron James, baby, out.
The GOAT.
He's here. He's right behind me, actually. You'll see it on the other podcast.
Yes.
LeBron's right behind me.
So I think just, like, being a kid from inner city, a small city where, like, people don't even believe in dreaming. People don't, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, to have a dream in Akron, it was just like, what? Please. You think you can work in media and, like, write stories and be a journalist and work with celebrities and do all of these things? I think where I come from, like, that's not a realistic or attainable goal. Where people just don't believe in it. So that was always just, like, something that, I don't want to say, but I will say, actually, rewind that. I take it back, because LeBron James was actually somebody who I was, like, just all my life, right? Like, because as a kid, he was the only person that we had to look up to. He was, like, the icon. So seeing LeBron, I was always like, yo, I'm going to be great like LeBron. I don't know in what field and what areas, but whatever I'm going to be in, I know I'm going to be great like LeBron. He has such a standard. Yeah, he's from Akron. He did it. So somebody else can do it, too. But my journey, I went to college in Atlanta. I started at SCAD, which is Savannah College of Art and Design. Ended up losing my scholarship at SCAD because I was wilding a little bit, because I'm young, of course. But transferred to the Art Institute of Atlanta. But I was a fashion student. So fashion led me after I finished school. I ended up in Chicago interning at the Ralph Lauren flagship store, and then I ended up being hired. So I worked for Ralph Lauren for a while. But while I was in Chicago, I just knew like I wanted to be in the industry, and I knew that the industry was in New York City. So like I don't want to sound cliche at all, but my story is literally $1 in a dream. Angel, I had $700 in my bank account when I moved to New York City, literally.
Yeah. No place to live? You had no place to live?
I had a place to live for a month. Like I had an apartment that I was able to sublet for a month. But after I paid for the apartment that I was subletting, literally all I had left in my account was $700. Now, this was the thing. When I was telling people that I was moving to New York, I was telling them that I was moving there for a job. Mind you, I did not have a job. I didn't have anything. I didn't know a single person in New York City. But I knew that if I told people that, they would really look at me like I was crazy. So I just I kind of fabricated my story a little bit because I didn't want people to be in my ear to try to talk me out of it. Because when you have a dream or a passion or something that you love, people are really good at trying to talk you out of pursuing something that you want to do.
Oh, I know all about it.
Man, that's like people just love to just kill a dream. Yeah. It's like, yo,
oh yeah. Misery loves company, Ebony. You already know. That's the age-old song right there.
OMG. So moved to New York City, didn't know anybody. I'm in New York and I'm just like trying to figure it out, hustling though. So now I'm here, I have $700. I have an apartment for 1 month and I do not have a job. Like, what the fuck? I gotta get to it. So I want to say my first week, my story is crazy because my first week in New York, I got a job at a dry cleaner in Queens, right? So I'm living in Harlem and I'm having to like commute from Harlem to Kew Gardens. And mind you, I don't know shit about New York.
Wow, that's a long trip too on that E-train, man.
I'm like, what is this? To get to Kew Gardens just to make $100 a week at this dry cleaner, right? Like not even making any type of money, but it was just something for me to like be able to eat. That's all I was thinking about. Like, I need to be able to eat. I need money to do X, Y, and Z until I figure out like how to get a bigger position because New York is a city of connections, right? Like if you don't know anybody, it's going to be very hard for you.
Facts.
By the grace of God, I had a friend who also had literally moved there at the same time as me, and he introduced me to Devon. So I met Devon. I told him what it was that I was trying to do. He was like moved by the fact that I literally like didn't know anybody in New York City and just packed up and just came. And he gave me an internship. I wasn't getting paid through this internship at all, but he gave me an internship just for an experience. But to me, that was like, okay, I got my foot in the door now. Now, the thing about Devon is Devon has his network is is profitable, right? So he has people around him who can just elevate you.
And Devon's the owner of Bleu, everybody, just so you know. He runs Bleu magazine, yeah.
So Devon introduced me to Daryl. So at the time when I first moved to New York, of course, I had this fashion background. So I wanted to be, in my head, I wanted to be a celebrity stylist, like the next biggest celebrity stylist that New York City had ever seen. That was my goal. So he introduced me to his friend Daryl Glover, who was a huge Daryl is still a huge celebrity stylist, but at the time Daryl was working with Janelle Monáe. He had just did the Beyonce campaign, like with GQ. It was so many people who he was touching, and I was like, oh my God, okay. So I met Daryl, and I just told him like, yo, like I really want to do this, and he was like, well, how serious are you about it? I was like, I'm very serious about it. And he was like, okay, well, we'll see. So then I started interning with Daryl as well. Mind you, at this time, I'm still working at the dry cleaners in Queens to get my little $100 every week. But this is all in the first month of me being in New York City. And so what happened with Daryl, at one point, I ended up getting a new job, right? So I get a new job at this restaurant called Brasserie 8.5 as a hostess. Because granted, I could have probably maybe like got a job in fashion, like with my degree and stuff. But again, because I didn't have like the right connections to those people, it was like nobody was hitting me back.
Yeah.
So I'm working at this place, Brasserie, and also interning at Bleu and interning for Daryl, hustling. Like, this was like a real fucking hustle. And one day, Daryl, I'm at the fucking Brasserie, I'm at the hostess stand, and Daryl calls me, and he's like, yo, I need you to quit your job. I'm like, quit my job? He's like, yeah, I need you to quit your job because, like, I need you to just work for me full time, and we have this tour that we have to get ready for, and all of these other things. I'm like, wait, what? Quit my job? Tour? What is going on? So we were, at the time, we were like working with these guys, Nico and Vans, and they had like the #1 song out in the country at the time, and they were getting ready to go on tour. So this was the tour that he had to get ready for, and he needed so much more help. Plus, he was taking on new clients. So that was like the pivotal moment. Like, that's when things just completely shifted from me working as a hostess to now, okay, I'm being put full throttle into this like life that I prayed for. But quit my job, working with Daryl, love Daryl so much, but I can only say that I think people have a misconception about how much money you make in the entertainment industry, right? People think because you're a stylist or because you work with this celebrity that you make bread. And the reality of it is like, that's not the case. Then you learn about invoices and being paid net 30. So that was like a whole different ball game for me to process. Like, damn, I gotta pay my bills like in 2 weeks, but this invoice is going to clear for like net 30. But from that, so boom, so interning to being like a actual paid staff for Daryl, but I was still interning at Bleu while I was being paid by Daryl. So now it was just like I had like this freedom to be able to really like chase and thrive in like my dreams. But oh my God, Angel, I feel like it's like so many things that were happening. So in the midst of all of this, doors finally started open for me in fashion. So I ended up actually getting a corporate job at a company called Trilux, which is a fashion production company. So now I'm like in a space where I was like, okay, now I'm like second month in New York, working at Trilux, working in fashion production. I'm working full time for Daryl with all of these amazing celebrities, and I'm still an intern at Bleu, right? So, but working with Daryl was an amazing experience. We worked with a lot of people, but what I can say, what I learned about fashion and styling was like, for me, it just wasn't fulfilling. Like, I didn't see like how it was actually changing people's lives. I didn't see the purpose of it. And that's not to say that a lot of other stylists feel that way, because people absolutely do see the purpose in it. But for me, I didn't see the purpose. So I knew that I had to make a change like quickly. So I did it for like, I want to say maybe worked in fashion for like 2.5 years. But this is when I knew that I gotta make a change. We are on set working with Rihanna for the 2016 MTV VMA Awards, and I just remember I was so fucking depressed. It was like, yo, I'm working with Rihanna, and I'm depressed.
Yeah, that's
like,
a problem.
I gotta make a change.
Red flag.
Yeah, like I gotta make a change in my life. So, but yeah, telling stories and writing was like my natural God-given talent. Like ever since I was a kid, like I have like notebooks that are just like filled from my childhood with like stories that I would just write. Like my uncles have like all of these notebooks, like just with everything that I would write. So writing and telling stories and being able to like tell someone's story and seeing the reaction that you get when you tell a story and it's a powerful story and the person that you told the story about is also moved by it, that is what fulfilled me. So at that point, I just had to make an adjustment to just focus more like solely on writing and telling stories and just becoming more in tune with what I was actually passionate about versus doing things because I thought it looked good, like for the gram, where it was like something cool to tell my friends, like, yeah, I worked with Rihanna, or I worked with like this celebrity, you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely, it was just an eye-opening, like an awakening moment working in fashion for me to like find myself and figure out what it was that I actually loved. And that just put me closer to everybody and everything that was going on at Bleu, because it was the only, and still is one of the only publications, print publications, minus like Essence. Ebony isn't around anymore. But that actually tells honest, true stories about amazing creatives and of our generation. So I just literally leaned into that, and so we had Bombshell. Bombshell was just getting started. Well, it was actually getting started back when I was an intern, but we never.
Yeah, you were around for that when it first started. I mean, to be honest with you, I remember that vividly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but we never really had like a clear, concise direction of where we were going with Bombshell. So the first jump into me like being at Bleu was completely just figuring out and molding the voice and like with Bombshell. So Bombshell, of course, like has grown so much. We tell like amazing stories about powerful women of our generation. I think about like a couple of years ago when we only had 1,000 followers to now we're at like 15.6K followers. So you see the growth and you see the impact that telling stories actually has on people. So that happened, and
congratulations on that too, because I know that's your baby. That's essentially your baby. You know what I mean?
That is
it really is your baby right there.
It really is my baby. And so then I want to say what happened from that I became the head of content for Bleu as well, because it was like there was the stories that were being told with Bleu, there were good stories, but I just feel like some of the team probably didn't really care so much. So we made a lot of like staff changes early, and then I took over to run both Bleu and Bombshell. And of course, like now you see like the work that we have been putting out and all the stories that we tell and the beautiful content that we put out. So that's just been amazing. But as far as now, like the partnership that me and Devon have, is stemmed from, so we're launching like a whole separate tech screen company called Bleu Screens. And of course he needed like co-founders. So of course I've been there since day one, grinding with the brand and building the brand up. And so of course it was like initially like, yo, I need you to be one of the co-founders for this new entity that we're about to start off. So now to go from intern to editor-in-chief of Bombshell to head of content for Bleu magazine, and to now one of the co-founders of our whole new company. That's just like a journey in itself, but a lot of hard work, years of grinding and just believing in what it was that I was doing, and it finally just paid off. So.
And what's this new tech company about? What does that entail?
So it's not, okay, I don't want to use the word tech because it's not, well, I guess it is tech, but right now we're on lockdown, but what we have are these digital screens, right? So all of these screens that we are placing, so you know our distribution is like barbershops and Barnes and Nobles. But with our distribution being with barbershops, so now we'll have digital screens located in all of these barbershops, but the screens will run our content. So it's like the content that you see in the magazine or video content that we have online or on our social media will actually run on the screens, as well as like our advertising partners' content. So it's just literally taking the magazine and putting it on a screen in real time to just grow the brand. Our goal is, of course, to make Blue Lives Media like the #1 media company in the world. So yeah, that's
a great idea. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that's what we're up to now. But yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. But shout out to Devon. I will say the thing that I love the most about Devon is like if he sees that you are a creative person, one thing that he does is like he shares his resources. And this even goes back into like our whole earlier conversation about like how do we improve as a community. When you are a Black person and you put yourself on and you get on, and if you have an opportunity to like, you share your resources. I feel like our community has a problem with sharing our resources because we are so afraid that somebody will outshine us. And it's like, yo, no, that mentality has to be completely wiped away. It's not about outshining each other. It's about literally building each other up to outshine like the people who want to keep us oppressed. So yeah, so I love that Davon just shares his resources because
he does. He lets you fly. He lets you go out there and exploit, and expose your talent to the world. Yeah. I mean, he let me run the sports department for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like,
I was writing like I was like, this is amazing. They're doing the sports thing for the online. It was fantastic. And he just let me look, when you think it's popping, go ahead, bro. Like, you know more than me about this. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to delegate responsibility, man. And I can see why he chose you, because you know what you're doing. Yeah. And even when you feel like you don't, you're gonna, you portray that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, and you've had some dope artists too, man. Like you've had G Herbo, you did Surge, Flip De Niro, and then like you said, the content now that's going on all the social media platforms it's impressive. I'm like, yo, that's all Ebony right there, man. That's crazy.
Yes,
she took over and just killing the game right now. It's over.
Yeah, like. That's it. That's exactly what it's about. But yeah, I love the stories. Like, I love the stories that we tell. And yeah, even like you said, as of recently, like, I feel like the magazine looks so amazing. Like, it's such I think I have a copy of like, this is the G Herbo is at the office. I'm not in New York right now. I'm actually in Ohio. But yeah, like, our content is just like beautiful content. Like, I just love it. Like, I just love what we do and the story.
No, that there's been a humongous evolution, man. Like, it's fantastic, man. That's what's up. And that's, you got in the game, you got to continue to step your game up, man. And like, are you putting equal amount of effort into the print as digital now that we more in a digital era? Like, how's that going with the print situation?
So print is always our main focus because that's how we get our advertisers. Like, print pays the bills. It's crazy because everybody is like, print magazine, like, ooh, isn't that a bad idea? But for us, it's like, it's what works. Like, and we will continue to be a print publication. Now we are trying to like figure out figure out the digital space a lot more and creating content that people will like actually click and want to view, and CTR rates and all these other things, like as far as like digital content goes. Digital is more of our focus now versus print. I mean, print, of course, will always be our baby, but we're definitely trying to figure out how to make sure we can still sustain ourselves if we ever had to go completely digital. I think the lockdown was like a wake-up call, like, because
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like such a wake-up call because, we are a print magazine. We're distributed at barber shops and Barnes and Nobles, and none of that is open. And so if that's not open, then that means the magazine is not being seen by people, which affects our advertisers. So it was literally a big wake-up call for us. Thankfully, the economy is starting to open back up. Like Barnes and Nobles, we get messages every day from Barnes and Nobles about which locations have started to open back up. So that has been okay, but it's just like that was absolutely a wake-up call for us. Like, yo, we gotta like zone in, definitely on digital, to be able to bring in the same amount of revenue on digital that we bring in print. If there was ever something that happens to where everything just shuts down again. So that's definitely like our main focus for the rest of 2020 is just digital.
Now, throughout this whole process, Ebony, have you felt any type of like discrimination for being a woman in this field?
Oh my goodness. It is probably one of the main things that I struggle with every day is that I am a female in this industry and that I am the boss of a company and I have to give out orders to people. people literally will disregard things that I say. I remember one time we had a writer who I gave him direct orders, and I will never forget it. And he literally looked me in my face and said, "I'm not listening to you. If it doesn't come from Devon, I'm not doing it." And it was just like, whoa, it was
you
so
done
crazy.
Messed up there, sir.
And just know that was his last day on the job.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally his last day on the job. But the sexism, like, I honestly didn't think that sexism was, like, really a thing in the workspace until I moved to New York City, until I started to try to make moves and work corporations, and you see how people treat you. Like, it's like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, no. Where's the man at? And it's just like, what? But I'm actually probably smarter. Not smarter than Devon, but saying, like, smarter than just, like, a lot of men. But it's such a male.
No, but the thing is, like, look, you're in the position. Doesn't matter how smart you are. A lot of people think they're smarter than their bosses. You know what I'm saying? But you can't be insolent just because of the person's sex or their race or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Right. At the end of the day, you have to be a professional no matter how much smarter you think you are than your boss. Do the job. You know what I'm saying? Because how you going to move up and get connections if you don't do the job? Now you're out of a job, bro.
Yeah. Now you're out of the job. And now, good luck trying to get somewhere else. Because, but
and now you're not going to vouch for them? It's a negative situation all the way around.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And the industry is so small. So it's like, come on, you don't want to burn bridges, especially with somebody who has a lot of connections to a lot of people. Like, I'm like not a bridge that you want to burn, but people burn the bridge because they just feel the need to not have respect because I'm a woman in a position. So I face discrimination a lot, more often than not, but I work through it. But what I love also, going back to Devon, right? Devon sees it, and he will instantly, like, shut it down. Like, there have been times when we, like, have been in meetings where the person leading the meeting will come in and shake everybody's hand in the room, but will look over me because they're assuming that I'm just, like, Devon's girlfriend or something. But, like, he checks it as soon as it happens, so I always appreciate him being, like, that voice to be like, yo, that's not right. You're not going to do that. And if you act like if you don't see her, then you don't see me, and we're not going to do business. So, yeah. But I know a lot of women in the entertainment industry don't have, like, that type of support. So it's really hard. It's just really a struggle, but we make it. We get through it.
Nah, you've been doing big things. And now you were on a show called Are You Newsworthy? Now, could you tell the public what makes a brand newsworthy? What makes you popping? What makes you wanna put somebody on and showcase them in your magazine?
So what makes a brand newsworthy? Okay. Yes. So I have, like, a couple of points that I feel make something newsworthy. I think the number one thing is, like, timing, right? So the timing of something happening, or say for instance, if it's like a product, and you're releasing a new product, right? But what will make it newsworthy is if you're releasing it at the right time. Like, is this something that people actually need? So for an example, I received a pitch about, like, bleaching skin products. And I'm like, yo, I'm not writing or doing a story about bleaching skin products because, like, no way. Like, that time, and it's just not going to happen. So it's like making sure that your product is coming out around a time that actually makes sense. People hold projects back because of the timing of it. So just knowing the timing and is this the right time for my product to come out? Are people, like, demanding this product to be in stores or just out? Like, is this something that people actually want to buy? So paying attention to the market and knowing when to release the product. So timing is number one. I think the next thing is, like, the innovation. Like, how is what you're doing different from something else that somebody else is doing? Like, you have to be innovative. I think, like, with Black, like, I use this as an example, but just because I'm a Black woman, but so many Black women are, like, leaning away from, Shea Moisture was once, like, the number one brand that Black people just love. But as of recently, like, we're reading labels. So you read a label of Shea Moisture and you see, like, how many chemicals are actually in this product. So people are straying away from that. And brands that actually use, like, natural ingredients and things that we know what it is are becoming the products that we go to. And that is also something that makes the brand newsworthy, because you're not doing what the competitors are doing, but you're actually using legit ingredients that we know what they are. And yeah, so I think
Circle of Sisters is good for that. You find some great products at Circle of Sisters. I don't know if you ever been there before at the Jacob Javits Center.
No, I haven't. But I hear,
you gotta go there.
So,
yeah.
like, I always hear people say that, so I have to check it out.
Yeah,
I absolutely have to check
it's
it
pretty
out.
lit. Not gonna lie. Yeah, got some good products there. Yeah, I'm actually using a product I bought from there for my curls right now. Not for nothing.
So
They didn't pay me for the podcast, so I can't put them on yet. But we'll talk.
Okay, because need some ad
You know how it is. Yeah.
Shoot, need some ad dollars, okay?
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
But then the demand of it, the need, all of these things, like, make a brand newsworthy. So, yeah, that's just the thing. Timing, the innovation of it, the demand of it, and, of course, the way that you present it to the world. So, like, I can take this in the hood and I can take it to the top CEOs and people will still love this product. That's what makes the brand newsworthy. So, as far as a brand. But I work, because I'm, like, so heavy into music, so many, like, rappers or, like, aspiring rappers reach out to me all the time, like, hey, can you get me a record deal? And I'm like,
yeah,
I can't get you a record deal, but I can listen to your music and give you some, like, tips and maybe point you into the right direction.
yeah.
But yeah.
So what's your thought process when you go behind, like, picking an artist? Because you chose G Herbo, who I actually met at the airport when I was bartending. Yeah, no, I didn't know who he was. And one of the young dudes was like, yo, there's one of the up and coming cats from Chicago. He's valid, get him whatever he wants on the house. I'm like, oh, I bet. So, I went over there, gave him a drink. I'm like, yo, bro, like, much success in your career. It was a flying by. And it was so crazy because now I see him on the cover. I'm like, yo, man, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what's the thought process behind who you, because I know you had Nipsey on the cover, may he rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace. Yo, so the thing is that, like, I love music, right? I love music. I just love music. So I'm heavy into, like, the culture as far as, like, hip hop and rap and R&B and everything. So I want to even talk about Nipsey Hussle, the Nipsey Hussle cover. Me and Devon were in the office, and he was like, we are going back and forth debating. Should we put Nipsey Hussle on the cover or not? And I'm like, yo, no, like, we absolutely have to do a cover with Nipsey Hussle. Like, he is going to be, like, one of the biggest, he is on this path to be a huge artist. He's going to be a big deal. Like, we absolutely have to do that cover. And so we ended up doing the cover. And I'm so glad that we did, because may he rest in peace. But yeah, I'm just so happy because it's, like, one of the only magazine covers that he actually did. So I'm so glad that we did that. But the thought process of picking, like, these artists, of course we get pitches all day. So publicists just pitch us things all day. But how we decide is literally, like, just believing in the artist, like, seeing an artist, and you kind of know, like, if an artist is going to be, like, that next thing or not. And so
that's the way I felt about Migos, yeah. Because I had to fight for Migos to get that article between me and the other dude. I forgot his name, but yeah, like, I had to pitch. Like, I was like, yo, chill, like, because I was listening to them heavy before, this 2015. Before, and look at that, they came a major success, Grammy winners. I'm like, yo, I'm proud that I was able to do that. Do that profile on them, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a fact.
Absolutely. And so it's just like spawning like amazing talent, and I love that. Like, whether you know them when we put them on the cover, you're gonna know them after, because they absolutely blow up to be like huge stars. So it's just seeing something, like seeing the talent in these artists. That's literally how we decide who's going to be on the cover or not. Like, if you are just you having a hot moment, but you might not be relevant next month, then you probably aren't going to get a cover. But if we see the potential and see like that's a star, then that's how you land on the cover of Bleu magazine.
Well, Miss Allison, thank you. Thank you so much for joining the Angel of Words podcast today, for pushing the culture forward, for keeping Bleu hot and sizzling, and Bombshell as well. Let's not forget, because 3,000 to 15K plus is no small feat in this business. Let me tell you. And I just want to say, keep doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely going to always be, paying attention to what you got going on and what's happening with Bleu. Holla at me if you need any special things done. I'm always here for you guys. And,
absolutely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time here on the Angel of Word podcast. And, the revolution is going to be televised, and I hope that you're part of it.
I absolutely will be a part of it. And thank you so much as well, Angel. And thank you for sharing these stories and having us on and being a voice for the culture as well, because you are so important to us as well. Like, your voice is important. So keep doing everything that you're doing. Like, we love to see it. So, yeah.
All right, cool.
You as well.
Thank you so much, my love. I appreciate that. You have a nice day, all right?
You too. Good night. Have a great night.
Bye-bye. You too. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed my interview with Ebony Allison, head of content at Bleu magazine, and one of the dopest ladies out there in the media world. Now, if you like the Angel of Words podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, click on that notification bell, like, dislike, comment. Do whatever you feel is necessary, but engage with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Also, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to see what I'm up to on my social media, you can follow me at Angel of Words ENT, all one word. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Talk to you later.